Everyone, this is Max with Okta. I want to show you a portion of deactivation or the provisioning flow or automation. Specifically in this example, we will deactivate a user, and then when you deactivate a user in Okta, they usually lose access to applications. But we also want to move their files to their manager, for example. And so in this example, we'll be using Box. And so this user, Eric, has two folders, and then we're going to move the folders to Eric's manager when Eric is deactivated. So let me show you how it looks. I'm going to go to Workflows, and I'm going to create a new flow. And it's going to move Box folders, for example, and then we're going to save this option so we can see the execution history. All right, so the first thing is that how do we run this flow? And so in this example, we want to run this flow when the user is deactivated. So I'm going to go add event, and we're going to use the Okta connector, which has the user deactivated event. I'm going to search for it, user deactivated. All right, and then this is the event and the information that we get when this event fires. Okay, now looking at the Okta user, so we get some information like ID, display name, alternate ID, but we actually need more information. We need the user's manager, and so we will get that in the next step. So I'm going to use the Okta connector, and there is an action called read user, which allows to retrieve more information about the user. And now we don't need all these properties. So I'm going to inject them. But we do want maybe the username and the primary email, and let's say we want the manager. So the ID and maybe the manager name. All right, save. We can also quickly test this. And then, so this is actually, well, let's click test here. Type it here, Eric at email, and then click run. And then we see that, so this is Eric's information, and in this case, I am Eric's manager. So this means that the read user card works, and we can continue. Now, we need to get the user's ID, and then so that's going to come from this event, and this is the Okta user who was just deactivated. I'm going to take the ID and map it like this. All right. We got this. Now, next we need to search. We're gonna find the same user in Box. So since it's another application, it's going to be in action, and I'm gonna search for the Box connector, right? And I'm gonna do search users. And so in this example, let's search by email, and I'm gonna return just a single user. And for the results, we don't need the role, but we'll keep the user ID and the name. Now, one thing I didn't mention also when I added these two cards is that like the Okta, before you can use a connector, you need to create a connection. So I already have an Okta connection here, and I already have an Okta connection here, and same thing with Box. So before you can use a Box or any other connectors that Workflows has, you do need to create a connection. So I do have a connection, so I'm just using it. All right. So the email is so we're looking for the user who was just deactivated. So this is their email, right? And now I also need to find their manager. And so what I can do is I can use add app action, but just to show you another capability is we can duplicate a card and it copies the card. Now, in this particular case, I'm going to actually search by name. And so this is the manager of the user. So I'm going to use the manager ID like this. Okay. So next is not we found the user who was deactivated, we found their manager, and we have their IDs. We can initiate the transfer. So we're going to use the Box connector again. And this is going to be, there is an action called transfer user folders. and it has two inputs from user ID. That's this user ID, and then the manager is here. Okay, so we got the user ID and their manager. All right, two more things we need to do is we want to write a small message and send it to Slack. So for example, say user, this is going to be box folders transfer to, and so this is going to be the name. That's the user, and then to who it transferred is right here. And we can add a space here. Okay, and lastly, we're going to send a message to Slack. So we're going to use a Slack connector. And that's going to be the send message to channel. And we will say offboarding, for example, and then we'll send as a bot. And we don't need the timestamp, but we do want the emoji. And so the text that's coming from this compose card, for the name, we'll just call this offboarding. And for the emoji, I don't know, we'll just do something like this. All right. We can also, right here, if we want, we can also test this card. Like I tested the read user, but we can test the Slack card if we want to. So we can just say hello, click run, click close. And then if I go to Slack, I can see it here. If I wanted to, I can also, test the search users just to see how it works. So Eric at, email, and then we get the Eric user ID and Eric's name. All right, this is ready to go. So let's now activate this flow or turn it on. And it could take 30 seconds for the flow to, I didn't want to do that. Let's go back for the flow to become active. But let's go to the Okta admin console. And I've got Eric here. Let's just refresh this page. So Eric is deactivated. So let's activate Eric because we're gonna deactivate him in just a second. All right, so Eric is pending action. So he's not in deactivated state anymore. And so let's see, we've got the flow running here, and let's go here. And let's run this. So again, just to show you, so we have two folders that Eric owns right now. And then this is the manager or myself, so right here. And so we're going to see the folder will be actually, the two folders will be moved here. So let's deactivate Eric. And deactivate. All right, and let's go to workflows, and sometimes we can just go to return to execution history, and we can see there is one execution that's pending or running. And sometimes we can just do this and we can see, okay, so we can see all the data from card to card. And again, we can just kind of force an update. Okay, so you can see that it finished, sent a message. So we can quickly check in Slack first of all. So this is the message that was sent in Slack. So this part works. I can go to Eric's box folder, and if I refresh, the folders are not here anymore. And if I go to the manager and I refresh, that we can see that Eric Shelton's files and folders. So those folders that Eric owned were moved or transferred to Eric's manager. All right. Let me go back to the flow. That's what I wanted to show you. Again, this is just a portion of the provisioning process. This particular example showed how to, when the user is deactivated, we transfer their files box files to their manager. And of course, you can add other automations and processes, um, you know, transferring their email and other sort of identity, deprovisioning processes with just a thing, all you need to do is deactivate, and then in turn will run um, everything sort of you need to deactivate and offboard a user. I hope this was helpful, and thanks for watching.